I didn't go home after the funeral. I drove past our home, with its hallway choked with unopened condolences. I didn't stop driving. I let strange towns drift past me like autumn leaves. At nightfall, I stopped outside a house with vacancies in the window. The landlady was elderly, slim and silvered like a midwinter rose. She showed me to an upstairs room with a bed, a bath, and a desk in the bay window overlooking the garden. She didn't ask for money. I slept until dreams sickened me. Outside my door, the landlady had left a glass of milk, bread and butter, an apple. On the desk, a sheaf of paper and a pen. I stared out over the dancing treetops and into the summer's horizon, but no stories answered. Instead, I wrote B's name over and over. I stopped. There was sobbing coming from another room. The door was ajar. A woman sat on her bed, her thin shoulders shaking, her young face made ugly by grief. The dread of intruding was stronger than my compassion, but I left the milk by her door. Back at my desk, I wrote a title, Too Young for Tears. I thought of B and her tears when the doctor broke the news. I accept payment in kind, the landlady told me when I confessed to having no money. You're a writer? I didn't deny it. You can pay your rent with stories. That's incredibly kind of you. I gave her Too Young for Tears. She read it and smiled. It was a smile I almost recognized. This will do, then she said. My guests are the children I never had. Your poor neighbour. They took away her boy. Into care. I suppose it's a sort of caring. I thought of the sobbing girl on the bed and said, she doesn't look old enough to be a mother. People rarely look their age, the old woman replied. At least, not in this house. Does age alter love? Or grief? You should know how terrible it is, she added, to lose a child. I went out, immediately, and pawned my watch to buy alcohol. I spent a week dead drunk, haunted by the word stillborn. When I could write again, summer had retreated from the burnished treetops, waiting to be stripped like corpses. The new guests downstairs fought. I heard her screams, his threats. It's her cancer, my landlady explained when I complained. When she dies, he's a broken man. She's going to die? I asked, handing her the pages of my rent entitled His Anger with Her. They both died. You mean they're going to die? Instead of answering, she asked, How's Shirley? Shirley? Miss Winters, in the room next to yours. She had passed me often on the stairs, eyes downcast. I saw the tracks on her arm as she gripped the balustrade. I thought of B in the cold bath, eyes unblinking, one limp wrist. B's razor and Shirley's needle both left the signature of despair scribbled on white skin. I considered buying more liquor. Instead, I went to my desk and wrote. When the ice thawed, more guests arrived. A child roamed the house, breaking windows, kicking doors. I found him on the stairs, gouging holes in the wall with a knife. He was a glowering little creature. When I took the knife away, the boy shrieked, and the other guests came out, the squabbling couple downstairs and Shirley from her room. "Stephen's the same age as him," she said, when the boy exhausted his tantrum on the stairs. "Stephen, my boy." She fled back to her room. With no sign of this boy's parents, I gave him a pen and paper. He spent the afternoon sat on the floor, happily drawing knives. His name was Cal. He became a regular visitor. His pictures were vivid, violent, and unspeakably sad. Cal's parents never came looking for him. "They're in prison," my landlady explained when I handed over The Boy Who Drew. "What for?" she answered. "Terrible things." "Then who's looking after Cal?" The old woman smiled her strangely familiar smile. "Why, David," she said. "You are. And Shirley." Climbing the stairs, a melody drew me to Shirley's open door. Shirley and Cal sat together. She was singing to him. It was the first time I'd seen either of them look content. Spring stole into the garden below my window, one petal at a time. My landlady arrived with a new guest, a young man disfigured by hideous bruises. She was giving him my room. "You're evicting me?" "David," she said, "you know it's time to go." The room next door was empty too, the bed stripped. "Where are Shirley and Cal?" The old woman smiled her familiar smile. "They already left. Together." The couple downstairs had stopped fighting. Behind their door, I heard a man's violent sobs. There were birds singing in the trees. My car was on the drive. The landlady handed me my stories. "They're my rent," I said, "for you." She shook her head. "What are you going to do next, David?" The intention emerged like a story, suddenly complete from vague imaginings. Shirley's son, Stephen Winters, in the care system. I thought you might do some good for him, for a child. She nodded. She pressed her dry lips to my cheek. "Goodbye, David." I went to the car and started the engine. The old lady lingered at the door. She was smiling. I knew that smile. I called to her. "Bee?" She pressed a slender finger to her lips. She closed the door. I set the manuscripts beside me. I looked up at my old room. I knew I would return, looking for the House of Ghosts where I passed 4 seasons. I knew I would never find it again. Or her. But this time, we had said goodbye. I drove into a purposeful new morning. If you enjoyed A Year in the House of Ghosts, read more daily ghost stories and please like and subscribe.